friends. My name is Dr. Molly, and I'm the founder and chiropractor at Living Adjusted Family Wellness Center. And today I have Malia Bohlin here with the Malama Family Recovery Center. And she's going to share a little bit about what Malama is doing in the community, how they're making a difference in women's lives, and what it means to her to be a part of that organization. So, Malia, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, sure.
Stoked to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Share with us a little bit about who you are, what brought you to Maui, one, and then two, what brought you to Malama.
Okay. Well, what brought me to Maui was my parents
Yeah,
when I was about 2 years old. And I was born on Oahu, and they were living in Hawaii Kai, and it was becoming more built up, and they felt like we need to get off of Oahu if we can. And so my dad at the time was a captain on a cargo ship that did a multi-island trip. So every week he would stop, every Monday was on the Big Island, every Tuesday, and so it went around the islands, and they decided that he could live anywhere because of that job. And my mom was a social worker. And so somehow they picked Maui. I don't know why. I think he had the longest layover on Maui at that time.
It's a pretty charming place though, right?
It is. In the 70s, it was really even more charming.
Oh, cool.
And so we came over, and I've been here most of that time, although I went to school at the University of Colorado in Boulder,
Okay.
and then I ended up staying in Colorado for about 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I came back to Maui 10 years ago.
Okay.
And during that time, I've primarily, almost entirely worked in nonprofit.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What drew you to Malama? Like, how did you get involved with them?
I was very interested in working with a larger organization, and Malama is part of, we call it a tri-agency partnership with two other agencies. One is called Aloha House, and the other is Maui Youth and Family Services. And so the three agencies all work together to address behavioral health issues, which include mental health issues and substance use and abuse issues. And those are important to me because I feel like they're a very core issue that if individuals are struggling with that, it affects everything else in your life.
Absolutely.
And so
the people around you.
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole,
There is quite a trickle-down effect, and more like an explosion, I think. Trickle-down is too mild. And so that's what I appreciate about working there, is knowing that we're helping get to some of the core issues that people have, and if those are addressed, then we can allow them to have fulfilling, productive lives.
Cool. So tell us what's unique about Malama.
Yeah, what's unique about Malama, it's the only place on Maui that is a female-specific substance abuse treatment program. In addition, they can bring their children to live in the residential treatment program alongside them. And this is really important. It is great. The number one barrier to most women getting treatment if they have children is concern over their children. Where are they going to go if I have to go away somewhere? Who's going to take care of them? And so Malama addresses that on all levels, from bringing them in with their children, providing daycare in the facility. It's a very family-oriented facility that's a house in a residential neighborhood. There's a playground in the back for the kids, and this way they can really treat the woman and her family together in one place. And because there are other women in similar circumstances, they really draw a lot of strength from each other.
Totally. The support is huge there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the facilities, like, you have so much resource all in one spot. It's really sweet.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources. And for example, again, with providing for the children, with that daycare, they're able to have their kids in a safe place while they might be going to a doctor's appointment, seeing a therapist, maybe they're in an NA or AA group that they need to go to, and knowing that their children are taken care of, and it just really allows for them to take care of themselves during that time.
So big. So big.
Yeah.
What's the holistic part of it? What's that aspect of the holistic care that you guys provide for the women?
Yeah, we have a nutrition program that we're working with, and that allows, essentially they do an assessment because, of course, drug use and everyday life can affect our brain health, right? And so not having the proper nutrition can really have detrimental effects. Drug use can have detrimental effects. A lot of women might come from a place where they're not eating regularly when they come into our program, on top of the drug use and that effect that has. And so they do an assessment to determine what nutrients are missing maybe from the brain, and then we have supplements that we can provide for them, as well as not just the supplements in a bottle, but fresh food that they can prepare themselves. And so we have cooking classes around certain types of food.
That's amazing.
And then we also have a neuropathic treatment program.
Yes.
And that's one that's just getting off the ground, but it's had a lot of success too.
Love that.
And yes, and again, I love that because it gets to the root of the problem. It's right there in the brain, and how can we address it and then free the women up to be more successful in their treatment. And a very basic example, and I'm not a therapist or a treatment provider, but a very basic example could be that maybe you just have a lot of anxiety because you're coming off these drugs, you're in a new facility, you're a living situation.
Your life's upside down.
Your life is upside down. And how can you participate in a group, or how can you go to a therapist if you're struggling with this anxiety? And the I have a hard time saying it. The neurofeedback program provides, the benefits, one of the immediate benefits is reducing the anxiety.
Totally.
And then allowing them to be able to participate more fully.
Yeah.
And so those are two programs that are holistic in terms of treating the brain.
Yes.
A lot of people consider substance abuse a disease of the brain. And so how can we treat that right there?
Yeah, and strengthen it. And I think you said it best, free the women up, It's like they don't need another thing to put into their system, like another medication necessarily. So how can we get to the root cause of it? That's amazing.
Exactly. And really allowing them to fully participate in the treatment options, and also maybe reduce their resistance to it.
Totally.
And the barriers, like I said, that's a big one, reducing the barriers. And with both those programs, I will say that we wish we could do it 100% for every woman that comes through, but funding has been a problem. It's just because it's an add-on to the services we already provide. And where we have funding for those, now we want to bring in this new thing. But I think that it's very cost effective because it can reduce their time in treatment and the additional resources we have to bring to them. So as I do fundraising for the organization, and so that's a goal of mine to address
raise that funding, that specific stuff. You guys also do dance classes on top of cooking, right? Dance and other yoga. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Such a good resource for women here.
Yeah. We had recently a woman who came in and did a self-defense class.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so it's very empowering for women who might have been victims at different stages in their lives, right? So, yeah.
What's the pulse right now on the drug use in females on Maui? What's the situation like for those who may be unaware?
I think that, and I don't have real current data, but methamphetamine is still huge. And so when I was young, we called it batu, which is the Filipino word for ice. And because it was coming in through the Philippines primarily at that time, but now it's really exploded, and meth has become, sadly, a generational situation for many families where we're seeing the third generation of users. Think about that. Yeah. So
that's hard to hear.
And talk about breaking a cycle, right?
Yeah.
How do you break free, and where do you find that strength when it's surrounding you?
It's genetic almost at that point, right?
Yeah.
Third generation.
Yeah. It's really hard for them to get out of that cycle. So I think that's still our number one. Opiates, of course, are an issue across the country. It's not as big as meth here. And you can see areas where it congregates, particularly if people have been users and then become homeless.
Totally.
So
yeah, totally.
You can see that.
What do we do as a community to help get involved with what you guys are, the movement that you're trying to make?
I think there's two things. One, there's probably more, but two things that really come to mind are, first, we have to address the stigma around it, that not everyone chooses to do drugs and wants to become an addict. Very few people want to become an addict. No one wants to become an addict. And so realizing that these folks need help, just like other people in other circumstances. And secondly, understanding that treatment does work and we can see an impact and we can make a difference and we can end the cycle, and helping to, in a family situation or in family-oriented environment like at Malama, then we have now another generation of kids who see their parent going through this treatment and have the supports and the resources to not use themselves.
Absolutely.
And so I think those are two things that people can realize, that it does work, to possibly not judge people as much. And then, of course, thirdly, we always need funding. And if you're in a position to make a donation, that's wonderful too.
Cool. What about time and energy that is in like volunteer work?
Yeah, we have some volunteer opportunities. We're always at Malama in particular looking for projects for kids and, you know, art projects, that type of thing.
Sweet.
We've had lots of volunteers come in to do the yoga or the self-defense class and that type of thing. That's amazing. If you have a skill you want to share, you can talk to us about that.
That's amazing. I really want to highlight what you said. No one wants to be an addict. You know, that's huge. And it just kind of like touched my heart, man, because we forget about that sometimes, and that it may not be their choice. It may have been like the third generation. They've seen it in their grandparents or whatever, and don't necessarily know they have a choice. Right.
Or been offered it by a family member. Right.
Totally.
So it's horrible.
Well, thank you for the work that you do. It's huge. So you're on the admin side and the marketing side. So what fundraising or what programs are you working on right now to boost the word about Malama?
Yeah, we're doing a lot behind the scenes right now to improve our marketing and our communication to the community, and we're revamping our website. We're installing a new database that will be able to track donor data better. We've been so focused on programs and implementing those, and this happens with a lot of nonprofits, that you don't always have the time or funds for infrastructure.
Totally.
And so that's where I'm really trying to put some effort right now, so that we can have a fresh face on what we're doing and get our message to the community in a more efficient way, so they really understand.
Love it. What's the vision for Malama?
The vision, I think, is to have a drug-free island, really.
Absolutely.
But we really have a micro vision too, which is to meet each woman where they are and offer that first touch of support. Maybe they're not willing to come in yet, or they're not ready, or they're scared. Maybe we can just offer to talk to them on the phone, or a meeting that they could come join, or something like that. And to really offer hope, and to know that they don't have to give up. We want to be an entry point, if you will, to their treatment and their recovery.
Cool. That's amazing. What would you say to a woman, if someone that's listening maybe that is struggling, to just call you guys?
Yes, you can call us. You can find us on the internet. We have a website. And you don't have to commit to anything. Would be the biggest message I would have, just to reach out to us directly, your doctor, a family friend, it can be anyone. And then you start to sort of build a bridge toward treatment and recovery.
That's amazing. Cool. I like that advice.
As I mentioned, my primary career has been in nonprofits for many years now. And I think that they offer awesome opportunities for women that we don't see in other industries. And women are absolutely on the front lines in providing direct service, managing programs. We have a lot of executive directors that are women here. And so there's great opportunity, and I've been really lucky to have those opportunities. What I would like to see more of is that kind of caps off in our industry at a certain level. And when I look across nonprofits in Hawaii and I look at the ones with maybe a budget of $1 million or more, they tend to be led by men.
Really?
And and also the finances, who's your CFO, and who's on your board. And I really look at those three areas because I feel like while we're doing good work and we're having impact, we also want to look at kind of where the power lies in an organization, and it's who holds the purse strings and who makes the final decisions. And so I just would like to give a nudge to our community to keep that in mind, that
and step up.
Yes. And we have different ways of leadership, and I think that I would like to see what women might do differently. Often I've used this analogy that if we were to use general terms, I'm going to make some big assumptions, but men often are more direct and they're more like a line.
Totally.
Women are more like a circle, or I would argue a sphere.
Totally. And I think that's like the male-female energy or archetype, right?
Yes.
And it's, it's like scientifically proven. The brains are different. Our brains are.
Yeah, the way we operate in the world. And so with that, with those models, I'd like to see, well, what I have seen is that men try or often look at the final goal and look at the steps to get there, and it's very linear, right?
Okay.
And where women look around them at who's with them and who they take with them.
I love that.
And how they work together to get to that end point. And so with some of these larger organizations, it would just be interesting to me to see if they had more women at the helm, how that might change the way we do our work.
Totally. That's incredible. I feel that very heavily. I think too, with just what's going on in the nation right now too, is like, if we had a different energy or a different approach to taking care of people with maybe a gentler way or just in a different manner, we would see a lot more community building and I don't know, togetherness, unity in that way.
And resources to support
available.
each other. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you touched on that. Is there a reason specifically that you're so passionate about like women's leadership in the nonprofit world, or is it just from your experience and what you've seen?
I feel like I've been very lucky in my career path, and I've been supported by great people, male and female. But there's been times I've had to fight for what I want to, and everyone does, men do too. But I just want women, especially maybe women younger than me with less experience, to just keep their eyes open to what's going on around them, and to see their opportunities and not be fearful to pursue them and make suggestions, see how we can work together.
Cool. And I know you spend a lot of time working with Malama and fighting for the women there and fundraising and marketing. What do you do for self-care? Like, what's your self-care routine, or how does that look like? What does that look like for you?
For self-care is very important to me, and I literally write it on my calendar, so I do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so it's been classes at the gym, walking or running, being outside, and then I'm also a writer. I've written a novel and I'm working on a second one.
That's incredible.
So making time
to
do that. Yeah, I self-published the novel.
Oh my gosh, what is it called?
It's called Left at Hiva Oa, and it's a
small plug. Everybody look it up.
Small plug. It's an around-the-world sailing adventure, and it's actually based on a true story about some young people who left to go sailing around the world.
That's
and
incredible.
Things didn't work out, and the captain kicked off the crew in the Marquesas Islands and sailed alone to Hawaii. And that person was my dad.
Oh,
and
my
so
goodness.
that's how he came to Hawaii, and he met my mom, who grew up on Oahu. And
so sweet.
So
sweet.
So anyway, so that was really fun to create. And so, in marketing and fundraising, you use a lot of creative energy, and I need to always try to reserve some for that creative endeavor too, and that's really important to me. And I can feel at times when a lot of new initiatives and things are happening, like right now, sometimes that creativity is tapped out by the end of the day or the end of the week. But when I make time to do it, it really benefits me.
Wow. Do you have a ritual around it or anything, or like a certain notebook or anything special?
I kind of do it all, and I just go with the moment.
Awesome.
And ultimately, and a lot of writers will say this, get your butt in the chair.
Yeah, you just sit down and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah, and then it flows, and it's fun.
Oh, I love that. Have you done The Artist Way?
No, I have friends who have.
Yeah.
I know about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a cool
that
thing.
changed my life. Like
Yeah.
to open the brain dump every morning and just open that channel,
Yeah.
creativity that way.
Yeah, journaling is very important too.
Mhm. Totally.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share?
I just want to thank you for
Yeah,
creating this
absolutely.
forum for
Yeah.
us and everyone.
Absolutely. And you guys were like a no-brainer for me to have. I knew I wanted to have you or Lisa on here just after the event that we did in January, because I thought it was just so special.
Yeah, it really was.
It was so special.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if I like fully have integrated the wave that it created, the ripple effect in my own system.
Yeah.
But just the way that everybody came and supported and listened so intently and
Yes.
held space for the women that shared.
Yeah,
It's
and
cool.
also the event itself with us participating, as staff, but also the women that participated. I know they got a lot out of it,
Cool.
and just talking with them that night, they were really stoked to be
Yeah,
included and a part of it.
Yes.
And I got to know a few of them more than I had before. Yeah, it was really
That's really special. Sweet. Well, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, I know. I think I told you quarterly
Yeah,
would
you
be a
said
good
quarterly.
idea.
Well, right now, I don't know, but yes. We'll
Right.
plan something and
Yeah,
make it
absolutely.
happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Malia. It was
Oh,
a great
sure.
conversation.
Yeah,
Good chat.
thank you.
Cool. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, listening, taking the time to hear what we're doing here in Maui and what Malia and her crew are doing at Malama. If you want to reach out or find out more information, you can give us your info.
Yeah, you can call our office directly. The number is 808-877-7117.
Beautiful. And then how would someone contact you directly if they wanted to work with the fundraising piece of it?
Yep. So again, my name is Malia Bohlin, and I can be reached at 808-442-6566. That's my direct line.
Perfect. Okay, we look forward to it. Thank you guys so much.